Boris. I run the Instagram account Evie Eats, and I have partnered with API, where I actually studied abroad in Florence, Italy in 2014. I partnered up to do a cooking series for you guys. Today, we are making gnocchi sorrentino, which is actually the first dish I made when I was in Italy. And I'm so excited to make it. It's so simple, there's not that many ingredients, and it's delicious. To make it, let's get started. So we're gonna start off by making gnocchi from scratch. You don't have to do this. It's fine to have store-bought gnocchi, honestly. Sometimes it can be better, you know, it's easier, it's quicker. So whatever feels right to you. So to make gnocchi, you're gonna need potatoes, flour, and eggs, and that's it. So the first thing we're gonna do is make the gnocchi from scratch. You're gonna boil water, and you're gonna boil the potatoes for about 30 minutes until they're tender. And then you need to preheat your oven to 425. So now we are going to make the gnocchi. So we have the potatoes all riced, and now we're going to put some flour out on the cutting board. And honestly, this is so similar, just like making pasta from scratch, if you've ever done that. You just kind of put some on the cutting board or on the board or a good space wherever you want it. And then put the potato out. Yeah. And kind of make a little hole in the middle. It might be a little hot, so you may want to wait a little bit. Ours is steaming. Mine's steaming. So now we are going to crack an egg right in the middle of it. Beautiful. And we're just gonna get a little messy and knead that dough into that egg, and as needed, add some flour to it. It's really starting to come together. I think we're almost there. Once it's ready, you're going to want to make it into a little circle, and then you're going to cut it into 4 quarters. Divide that up, yeah. Nice. And then you're going to take each quarter and you're going to roll them into snakes, if you will, and then you're going to cut those up, and that's going to be the gnocchi. Well, you got to cook it first. Yeah, so just roll it nice and easy. A couple of snakes. And just small little cuts. And here's where you can add, if you want to add like indents into it, you can. I like it nice and fluffy, so I don't prefer that, but if that's your preference, then go for it. There's so many fun little shapes you can do with gnocchi, which is why I love eating it and making it. So now once you've made your gnocchi from scratch, you're just gonna boil it. You're gonna salt the water. Gotta find my salt, please. And you just dump the gnocchi in, and once it floats to the top, it's ready. Also for this recipe, you can use frozen, pre-made gnocchi. That is fine. It's a time saver, honestly. But making it from scratch is also pretty easy. Just takes a little bit longer. Okay, we're just gonna put them in there. Whew. It is splashing. Gotta be careful. Okay. And now we wait. So now we are going to chop up 2 garlics. And you can do this, you know, with your knife skills. Okay, now we are going to roughly chop some mozzarella. You're gonna need about like 2 mozzarella balls, better if it's fresh. And yeah, and some of it's gonna be melted when you cook it on the stove top, and then some of it's gonna be melted when you put it in the oven later. And I love mozzarella. Voila. And now we're going to start working on the sauce. So I just put my skillet on medium heat, and I'm going to put some olive oil and the garlic until it's like nice and fragrant. Just a little bit. It's going to make everything smell so good. So while the garlic is cooking and getting nice and fragrant, I just had the best time abroad. I was only there for a couple of months. I went my fall semester, but I still keep in touch with all my roommates I was abroad with. I didn't know any of them when I was there. Actually, when I got there, I found out one of my camp friends was there, and that was really cool that we got to meet up and hang out, and we still talk about Italy like it was yesterday pretty much. But yeah, the food in Florence for me was what really made me love it there, and this is just bringing back so many good memories. I pretty much ate pizza every night, Augusta pizza, shout out to you, and Pino sandwiches also for like lunch. It was right by Santa Croce, by one of my friends' apartments in Florence. We would go and get wine from some store next to it, get the sandwiches, and then just like sit somewhere cool outside and have like a nice meal. And then the pasta, I had so many good like truffle pastas at really good restaurants. Pasta there is just something else. I love it. Yum, it's starting to smell really, really good. I think it's almost time. Now we are going to add some crushed tomatoes. Yum. A little bit of sizzle there, which is nice. And then some salt and pepper. Just a little pinch. Pretty much only have like a couple more steps to go. The gnocchi is the only part that's like a little more intense. It was actually really cool learning how to make this recipe there, because my family got to come visit me and they did a cooking class, and that was really fun. It was kind of fun to cook with everyone. Being abroad, it was just such a different experience than I ever thought it was going to be. Loved it. Think about it all the time, honestly, especially now, and I can't wait to travel again. And if you are thinking about studying abroad, I 100% say go for it. So we're gonna let this simmer for about 10 minutes. If I could replicate any dish that I made while I was in Italy, there was this ravioli, I think it was pear ravioli that I had. I say we, because like my memories of it with like all my friends. I think this pear ravioli dish we had at this restaurant that wasn't too far from me was delicious, and I don't think I've like heard of it or had that anywhere else. Let's see, my typical Saturday night or night out would probably be with my roommates. We would go to Gusta Pizza. We'd all get our own little personal pizzas. They weren't that big, or I don't think they were. Sometimes they made it in the heart, which was really fun and cute. Take it to go, and there's so many like beautiful areas we can eat and drink outside in Florence, which I really loved. The weather was great, so why not be outside and enjoy it all? But for like a fancy night, I think one of my favorite meals was this restaurant called Trattoria Sostanza. They made the best, I just think about it all the time, this buttered chicken. I've had my mom try to recreate it, and pretty good. Would like to recreate that myself one day. If she's offering to make it for me, then why would I complain? If Italy or Florence per se have a smell, and this honestly smells like the garlic with the tomato sauce and the fresh basil. For me, that's it. Oh gosh, now I'm like having flashbacks in my head of how much fun that was. Another thing I really liked about going to Florence was kind of like in the middle of all of these cool places in Italy. Like with API, we got to travel to other little cities, some that I've been wanting to go for forever, like Venice, that was great. And Verona, which is, you know, where Romeo and Juliet was there. That turned out to be one of my favorite places to visit. And we visited all these small places. We traveled all around Italy. We went to Bologna. I think my favorite food, my meal might have been there outside of Florence. We went to Moderna and I had some delicious balsamic there. That was so good. But I love that it was a place where you could travel in each of these little areas in Italy. They all have something fun and different for themselves. Okay, so the gnocchi, it's gonna float when it's ready, and that's when it's done. So I'm just gonna lower this a little bit because we need to add some of the cheese, the mozzarella, to the sauce. So I'm going to just put some of this in here so it's gonna melt. And then I'm going to grab some of this fresh basil. I'm going to tear it, just freshly tear it in, just like that. Once this starts melting, then you add the gnocchi in, and after that we're going to add more mozzarella and then put it in the oven. And now I'm going to just scoop up the floaters or the gnocchi. Wow, they look delicious, and once that cheese is melted, they are going to be smothered in some sauce. So now we have the mozzarella and basil, and for a couple more minutes we are just going to stir this in, and then we're gonna add the gnocchi, put it in the oven. But yeah, this was one of the first dishes I made when I was in Italy with API, and I remember it was so much fun. It was so good because it was my first time ever making gnocchi, and also it was my first time like meeting all these people who would eventually become like my really good friends, and I still keep in touch with all of them, especially obviously my roommates. I picked Italy because it's the only place where, for me, that I felt that I've never been, and I could travel around Italy. There's all these other places, and API had this program with Florence that you could go to Venice, Verona, Bologna, Lucca, and I've never planned to go any of those places, so it's really cool that I got to see all these areas of Italy. And one of the things I also really liked about Florence is that everything was walking distance. I don't think I ever was in a car or any type of vehicle except when I was leaving or coming into Italy, which I think is pretty cool because I just walked everywhere. There's so many things to see, so many little streets. Now we're gonna add the gnocchi. I'm just gonna stir this in. Wow. I don't think I ever got homesick. There was always something interesting going on to keep my mind off of like being homesick or anything for being gone for so long. I also was in Italy for the fall semester, which was great because the weather was just gorgeous, you know. I think the last thing I did, my last week, I bought a leather jacket. There was this really cool leather market in Florence, and I think I spent the whole semester being like, I'm gonna buy a leather jacket, and I kind of like waited until the end to buy it. And I love wearing it, and I love being like, oh, this jacket, it's from Florence. Okay, so now we're gonna put the gnocchi into the oven for about 20 minutes, and then you're just gonna garnish it with some basil, and that's it. See you in 20.
20 minutes later.
Okay, it's been about 20 minutes. Turn the oven off and let's take it out. It's bubbling and it looks amazing. Oh, wow. That looks smells so good. Oh, can't wait to eat it. Now I'm just gonna put some basil on top and then I'm ready to serve. Perfect. And now it's time to serve up. I'm just gonna go for it. Yum. Okay. Wow. Time to eat it. It's still really hot. Wow. That is so good. The gnocchi is so soft and pillowy. Oh, garlic. Just bringing me back to Florence. Wow. Okay, so can't wait to make another dish. What do you think I should make next? Let me know. It's been Cooking with Evie. See ya.